Today's stars, tomorrow's leaders.
Welcome back to the Universiades Winter Games here in Pleso in Slovakia. The air temperature -6, so as you can see, there's been a lot of fresh snow over the last 24 hours. Any of you who were following the cross-country and the biathlon over the last couple of days, we've had a track and nothing else. It's nice to see some winter scenes. I know the pisteurs have been out all night trying to get the tracks ready, but it makes it look like a genuine winter event as we flick through the start order for the mass start 10 kilometre. So this works slightly differently, Mike. The cross-country skiing coming first instead of the jumping.
It's a strange combination when they're used to always taking part in the jump and then the cross-country. But that is the way it goes, and with the cancellation yesterday afternoon, that it seems to be the way it has to be.
And I mean, what I'm really getting at is whether this format suits the good skiers more or less than the chasing start that we normally see, where they jump first and then they have to ski. The good skiers generally tend to be the bad jumpers. With them all starting together, do the weaker skiers get that advantage because they can just feed off the strong ones?
I think you're right. I think they will, and especially today, Patrick. Look at the snow still coming down. I know they've been out, as you mentioned, pressing the tracks down, but in a small way, those who are up the front will be slightly disadvantaged. So I think in this format, it will give the weaker ski performers a better chance overall.
So that doesn't play into the hands of David Welder, who's largely recognised as being the best cross-country skier here, and certainly in the Gundersen, that was the case. He was very, very quick over the snow. What was his cross-country time? 24:48. Compare that to Shijua, who actually won the event, 25:46. So a good minute quicker. Will he take a minute out of Shijua? And you sort of get the feeling he needs to take at least a minute and a half out of Shijua if he's going to win today.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. But is it possible in this mass start format? Probably not.
Welcome to the Nordic Combined here in Pleso. I must say, for an early start, I know it's 9 o'clock, but I'm impressed by the number of people that have turned out on a pretty grim day. It's -6, it's snowing very heavily, as you can see. The roads are difficult to negotiate. The athletes have been here for 3 hours. The coaches have been here for about 5 hours trying to find out exactly what wax to put on the skis, and we're underway. Now, out in the front, because of their position on the start gate, we've got Watanabe wearing 1, Yahin of Russia 2, Shijua of Poland 3, and David Welder wearing 4. Now, how long before he makes a break? But as you say, Mike, the fresh snow does not suit the men who lead. And so if Welder, as we expect, as he does, takes the lead, the others should be able to tuck in behind him and ski in his tracks.
Well, that would, you can see on the going wide around these corners on the amount of snow falling, it's definitely a slight disadvantage for Welder up front, but surely he's going to try and break the pack early so that there is none of this drafting in the slipstream. But he's not going to have it all his own way. That is a certainty in the early and easier part of this track. About 750, 800 metres of this gently undulating terrain before we go into the biggest of the climbs at 800 metres.
Takahiro Watanabe sticking in behind. Watanabe, one of the Japanese competitors, as I'm sure you recognise from the name. We see Yoshito Watabe on the World Cup, and along with Akito Watabe, they're the two top Japanese in the World Cup scene. But Watanabe's been a good supporting act to those two over the years. And of course they've also got Hideaki Nagai. Just thinking, we've seen the man wearing 1. He's made World Cup points a couple of times this season, so he's a very good competitor. And I'd be interested to see how he gets on with Welder of Germany, number 4, and then number 13. That's Pashinchnik of Ukraine. Good start from him. 3 times around the loop, Mike. They're not going to enjoy this climb by the time they come around.
This climb will be hurting on actually 4 times around the 2.5. so the courses have been changed slightly, but this is the steepest standalone climb, and you get just a feeling, some 22% in terms of steepness, and going on for a distance of 300, 400 metres.
That's where the better skiers are going to make their break, isn't it? There was didn't seem to be any positive moves on that first climb, but second time round, third time round, almost certainly we're going to see someone try and open up a gap.
Definitely, and it was quite interesting. David Weld, is he still at the front? He's second place now. He started very, very fast, trying to get away from the pack, and then he seemed to slow down into the first of the steep climbs.
Yeah, looking at the results last time round, December 2013, incidentally, the last of the Universiades games, so 2 calendar years, I guess you could argue, but only some 13 months between the two events.
It's a huge commitment. The organising committee, of course, it's spread around in this sense. The biathlon and the cross-country tracks are separated, and of course all the other disciplines over in Spain, so it's a very much spread Universiade. But the volunteers to create this, there's a huge amount of volunteers here, as you'd expect in a major international competition. The tracks, they were so worried as well, Patrick. Some 4 weeks ago they had to put the base of snow down here, which is machine made, and they put in half a metre, and then this natural snow thankfully came on top.
Yeah, it's kept the technicians fairly busy over the last couple of days because they knew this snowfall was coming, and having got all the bases prepared for artificial snow, they've then got to change the bases, they've got to change the wax selection, and maybe we'll see. I can't see anyone who seems to have particularly fast skis, but maybe towards the end of the race, Mike, often you have fast skis for the first couple, 2-3 kilometres, and then if you haven't got the base preparation absolutely right, you can pick up a bit of dirt.
Well, that's right, a real factor today, and let's be honest, the backup and the support for the Universiade is not quite the same for World Cup or Alpine Cup racing, so not quite the technicians that you would normally see, so some of the athletes preparing their own skis. Separation out already, big separation at 4.5 minutes of racing.
Group out front, and it's Takahiro Watanabe who's leading the way at the moment. David Welder looks quite happy to sit in behind him. If Welder wants to win this one, he's going to have to go at some stage because Watanabe's a better ski jumper than he is. There's a little move from David Welder, just picking up the pace. I like this course, Mike. It's undulating, you could say, but the climbs are steep, and if you attack the bottom and you attack the top, you can easily make good ground.
It's a lovely course, and I don't think that we actually see, when you look at 372 metres of rise from start line to finish line, looking at World Cup, we're getting 340 metres, 330 metres. This is a real test in terms of the cross-country part of the Nordic combined.
Now, I know in the old days, cross-country skiing all used to be about time trials. Nordic combined has always been head-to-head. You will have experienced mass starts, you will have experienced time trials. Psychologically, did you find one easier than the other?
Without doubt, when you're starting on a start grid with people around you, the journey is much easier. You've got faster athletes, and then it's just like being a limpet, trying with all the determination that you have to stick with the faster skier. And without a doubt, and I think we've seen that in cross-country skiing over the last 10 years, 12 years with the mass starts and the pursuits, it's closed the field up. And that's what we're seeing here today. Normally, Watanabe and Veld would break this pack, or if it was the individual starts, they would certainly have a stronger race than in this situation. I think it's a great event, this one.
So it is Velda who leads, but not by much as they come through 2.5. 3 laps to go on this slightly shortened course. They were planning 3 times 3.3 or 3.7. It was going to be quite a long 10k. That again doesn't favour the German, who would like the skiing to be as long as possible so he can get clear. But look at that, we've got 13 athletes within 7 seconds, 16 within 15 seconds. This is going to be a tight affair, and actually last year, Mike, the first 4 all came over the line pretty much together.
Well, that's interesting. Cieslar, Adam Cieslar, the Polish athlete, we'd expect him to lose some 15 seconds over 2.5 behind Velde, but he's 1 second behind. So this format is absolutely working for the Polish athlete, and that's a good advantage going into the next part.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting, and I think Shishwa probably buoyed by the fact that he did so well in the first event, of course, taking the gold medal, and Kupchak, his teammate, getting second place. So the Poles are on fire, we could say. Today they've got Marashaj racing. He's got number 16 on. The Polish in the white and red suit, as you'd expect. Just looking to see who else. Kupchak is number 23. We've seen him at the back. And Pavel Sloviok is number 24. He's at the back, I think, as well. Now, is this a gap appearing with Velde? This is the biggest climb. This is where we think all the action's going to take place on the second time round. But Mike, if you blast your way up this, even those little climbs that come later on the 2.5 loop are going to be really tough. So maybe you have to be conservative at this stage.
It is interesting. The body, as you say, on this climb, look how steep this climb is. It seems to go on for, well, it's 350, 400 metres. But you're right, if you press the accelerator just a little too hard on this one, it's fine, you'll stay with the group, but you will suffer 1 or 2 minutes later. And a lot of these athletes are on their limit, trying to stick with the pace of David Velde. But so far so good. I think this is a good day for Ernst Yahin, the Russian. Quite a tall athlete at 1.83 metres for a Nordic combined athlete.
Now there you see the standings. Really all you're looking for is the time margin. So we've got 10 within 5 seconds there. The Japanese will be delighted that Watanabe is on the heels of Shishwa, and I think that will be an interesting battle second time round. Watanabe's just been in the World Cup out in Sapporo on his home jump, and he picked up some valuable World Cup points there. I don't know how much we can read into that, because I know a number of the top Nordic combiners were absent from the Sapporo event. A lot of them now starting to focus on the World Championships coming up in February, that's right, 15th, 16th of February, and all making their way up to Falun. You're right about this separation, we just saw a little gap there. Now that's all due to the earlier climb where some of the weaker athletes were determined to stick with a faster pace, but now it's punishing their bodies. They can't quite keep the technique, the shape as strong as it was up the first of these climbs. Sonohara going through for Japan. Number 9 has dropped off the pace. That's Masaya Harinki of Finland. Apologies if I've got the pronunciation of his name a little awry.
Now there's the separation. Look at this, Patrick. As soon as you've got a gap, you're not getting the slipstreaming, even though they know that the gaps are beginning to develop. It's a great course. What a facility to have in the centre part of this country of Slovakia. Wonderful facility, and up here at almost 1,400 metres, so altitude in a small way is playing its part today as well.
I can see you looking on with envy, thinking Abbeymoor could have exactly the same if only we had consistent snowfall. What is the snow situation in the Cairngorms at the moment?
It's really good, and again yesterday another 5, 6, 7 centimetres of new snow on top of already a good base, so good conditions. They're having a great season, and in the forest the cross-country track still there.
Well, there is a herd of cows somewhere. I must say I like the Swiss cowbells. They're great. And when the World Cup cross-country went to Val Muster, that for me is one of the highlights of the season. And it's not about the races. It's, of course, the racing is important, but the crowd create the quality of the race. And they were so enthusiastic in Switzerland. And I guess it's all down to one man, Dario Cologna, who's put Switzerland on the map in terms of cross-country. We've not actually seen the Swiss do anything in Nordic combined for a long, long time.
Well, I think you have to go back to the mid-80s where they had a very good Nordic combined team, and I can't understand why they've let it slip. They've got the jumps there, they have the tracks there. Maybe all the money has gone into straight cross country.
Well, they've got a group of 3. Velda leading it. We've got Watanabe in second place. And for Poland, the winner of the first event here at the Universiades Games, Sizwa, doing so well, Mike. He's looking a whole lot better than he did at the finish of the last race. But I wonder how he's going to cope on laps 3 and 4, because number 2 just about completed now.
Well, you know, on normal form, Patrick, Sizwa would be now 30 seconds behind in raw time trial racing. So this finally working for the pole.
Yeah, Velda's he's got to grip it early. He can't afford. It's not just about winning. He's got to make a significant break if he wants to win this. Maybe he feels if he skis easy, he can put in a decent jump. We don't know. Maybe he's got a better jump in than we saw 2 days ago. But in my book, he should really have gone on this second loop, because as you said, once you make the break, then it just extends naturally because the others aren't feeding off you. But if he leaves it till the last loop, he's only going to get some 15 seconds clear, and that's not much use to him.
Well, it's not. So 6 minutes 34 the first lap, 13:37 now. So, well, the pace dropping off. I thought the pace would be almost level, because there were phases in that first rotation where David Veld, controlling the pace, seemed to be going a little easy at times. Yeah,
just 29 seconds difference. I'm just wondering whether the actual setup of the start has meant the first lap was a little shorter. So away they go, lap 3 of 4. Now, just to explain, the times are then converted into ski jumping points, and what is it? 15 points. If you're a minute quicker than someone else, you'll gain 15 points. That, in terms of distance in the ski jumping, is 7.5 metres. So that's as much mathematics as I'm going to try this early on in the morning.
Save it for later.
Yeah.
But all the while, David Veld, he's beginning to slowly but surely break the field. Just 3 strong skiers coming with them. Number 5, desperate Samir Mastiev, trying to close this gap. Look at him going for it there. Bib number 5, he knows he has to get in behind Sizwa. Every time we see David Veld making some break or other or move, he seems to slow it down a little again and allowing the rest of the field to close back.
Well, I can improve the statistics, Mike, in terms of advantage gained. If Velda gets a 4-second lead over, let's say, Watanabe, who's in second place at the moment, he will gain 1 point, which is half a metre. So he needs to be 8 seconds clear to gain a metre off the jump. Velda has got to go for it, and this is where, certainly where I think he needs to start to make a move. If he can, it's easy to tell someone to put the foot down, but if he's not feeling that strong, then it's not going to happen.
So impressed with Sizwa, 61 kilograms of athlete. It helps him on the flight, and it maybe helps him up these steep climbs.
Mastiev of Russia was going through in 5, number 14, that's Linen of Finland. 22 again from Japan, Yamamoto having a good ski at the moment, and Barkov of Russia just ahead of Ernest Yahin of Russia. So those two just need to pick the pace up a little. Petra Kutal of the Czech Republic, and this must be the only event, Mike, where the host nation don't have representation.
That is surprising. The programme is practically non-existent. It is on the international stage, the top stage, but a Universiade, I am surprised. When you've got the infrastructure that they have here in this country, I'm really surprised that at Universiade level they haven't got more athletes.
And the other thing that surprises me is, as we see Velda now, he has started to pull away. What's the margin going to be? Remember, 4 seconds to gain half a metre advantage, and it looks as though that's just about what he's done in the last couple of 100 metres. Watanabe's got to dig deep, and Sizwa really should have seen this coming and tried to get on the back of Velde for if he could survive another lap, that would have made a massive difference. It looks as though Samir Mastiev of Russia is really pushing hard. Keep an eye on that. He's 14.2 behind at the moment. We should get another split when they go through 7.5 kilometres. So they've now broken, Mike, into what, 3 groups plus the leader. And look at the margin he's opened up in the last minute.
That's incredible. In the last minute, it was at the top of the very first steep climb, and he hurt these 2 athletes, and then he put in another massive turn of pace, and he's now destroyed those chasing athletes. I'm impressed with Yahin. He's performing, he's punching above his weight here on the tracks, and certainly this format allowing that to happen. I beg your pardon, Mastiev.
Yeah, Mastiev doing really well. Well, apart from the fact that the host nation aren't here, the other thing that surprises me slightly is we see a burst coming in from Szijła, Adam Szijła of Poland, number 3, a little bit too late in my book. I think he could, the way he's skiing, he could have stayed with Velde.
Well, do you know, I think he was roadblocked in a sense from Takehiro Watanabe. I don't think he could get past. I mean, he could have shouted track to ask to get by, but he didn't. Maybe he didn't see that break happening, didn't see it coming.
Watanabe has got to fight and fight and fight. I think he's about to drop from 3rd down into 4th place, with Mastiev coming very strongly. Why haven't the Russians got better at jumping? We look at the biathlon and the cross country, and they've been getting clean sweeps left, right and centre at these championships. But Nordic combined and jumping is an event that we haven't really seen them do well since, what was it? It was out in Nagano in the Olympics back in 1998 when they had a challenger, and we've seen nothing of them since.
It is interesting. I mean, is it coaching? I've often wondered, is it the coaching? Is it because there's no superstar? Maybe you need one superstar to help create the impetus, help create the program. But again, they've got the infrastructure, they've got the jumps, they've got the tracks. And Samir Mastiev from Yekaterinburg, they have it, so many tracks there, they have jumps there, and of course trying to remember the name, the 6 times Olympian cross-country skier from Yekaterinburg, biathlete, turned cross-country skier, Sergei Chepikov. So you've got great names from that city, great infrastructure.
Well, I can't believe coaching is the problem, because if they don't have the expertise, they buy it in. We've seen that in biathlon. They'll try anything to get to the top. Maybe they're focused just on the other sports. That's a possibility. But having talked Russia down, Mastiev is doing a really good job here, and he's closing down on the leaders. Number 24, that's Sloviok of Poland. He is the race leader. David Velde. Has he done enough? Through, what are we expecting time-wise, Mike? 7.5 kilometres completed, so we should be looking at around 20 minutes, or it is just over.
I'm surprised it's over. Yeah, I was thinking that 1950, but even with that turn of pace, David Velde, let's have a look, 20:31.
So that means that this last lap has taken just under 7 minutes. We're talking about 6 minutes 54 seconds for this lap. The first lap was 6:33. The second lap was 6:29. So they're getting slower and slower.
Well, I think the first part, the way that David Velde approached the third rotation, he took it easy in the first part, and then he put that massive turn of pace on. So he slowed it initially, getting ready for his turn of pace, and I think it really has worked for him. 14.4 advantage.
14.4, remember 8 seconds for every metre on the jump, so Velde still hasn't earned himself a 2-metre lead on the jump, and I think he needs about 5 metres to have any chance of beating Szijła in this competition. So it's they're all splitting into groups of single men, Mike, and it suddenly becomes a battle of your own mind as opposed to, you know, being surrounded by other athletes where you get a slight physical advantage, you definitely get a psychological advantage, and now they're all in a lonely place having to dig very, very deep.
It changes the whole feeling, the whole aspect of you as an athlete now chasing. You've been broken, so there's a little bit of negativity maybe going through the mind. But I must say, Shijwa, expect him to lose 40 to 45 seconds over 7.5 kilometres, but he's only lost 14.4 today, and he's trying so hard to keep it at 14.4. What do you think? Is that going to drop more? Maybe down to 28 seconds?
I'm pretty sure we're going to see a margin of over 30 seconds come the end of this lap, and perhaps by the time they go through the next split, which is about 600-700 metres over the top of this climb, I think we're already going to see a margin of 30 seconds, and it may be up to that 45-second margin by the time we finish. But Shijwa, he put up a spirited fight in the Gundersen to win that one, and so he's going to have to do the same all over again. But what's going to be left in his legs for the ski jumping later on today?
Well, that's the other aspect, isn't it? Although it's more the strength, the explosive aspect of the physiological athlete, which is, as long as there's rest and food and massage in between, I think he'll be just fine.
Well, this is why what I like about Nordic Combined is the complication of training. You can't do too much cross-country skiing, because then you lose the power for the jumping. You do too much jumping, and you know, if you train yourself just for the jumping, you lose the strength you need for the cross-country skiing. So you get this combination that even after decades of World Cup, Olympic, World Championship action, no one really has the answers.
And then look at the different shapes and sizes. 1 meter 81 there for David Veld. 1 meter 71 here for Shijwa, and only 61 kilos as opposed to 68 kilos. So again, in terms of the flight, all these advantages, disadvantages on the track, it's a marriage of both ways, trying to get the middle.
Keep your eye on the clock. 28 seconds already. It's gone over the 30-second barrier. It's gone to 31, so it could easily be 45 seconds by the time they finish this lap. What about Watanabe? Has he got a chance of winning this one today? He didn't compete in the Gundersen, so maybe a little bit fresher than the others, but this is going to be a big margin. Divide the time difference by 8. So 52 divided by 8, and we've got, 6.5, and therefore that's 6.5 metres he's given away already.
Well, and look at David Veld. He realises he's broken the field, and it seems to have given him a turn of pace. The coaches are telling him just that. And I'm wondering, Patrick, if this track profile had been a little easier, I think the outcome here would be different. Shijwa would be able to stay a little closer, and would most of the rest of the field. So this track profile really playing into the strong cross-country skier.
I couldn't agree more, and the fact that we've got soft snow out on the track, so the skis aren't running as fast as they were 2 days ago, and that also helps Velde. So he's everything's going for him to claim the title here.
Well, you can just sense that Velde is on his limit, but he's trying so hard to reach up this hill, get more strength coming through the left side, his lead side. I tell you, he's paced this so well by his own standards, taking it within himself for the first lap, half of the second lap, and then he began to break the rest of the field. And now there's one man standing by a long way at the front of the pack. Must be a good feeling coming into the stadium for the last time.
Velde, who we saw medal in the Junior World Championships in Val di Fiemme last year, is he on his way to a Universiade title? Shijwa. He knows that every single second is vital. If he looked to his right, he might just have got a glimpse of Velde, who's heading for the finish now. They went through the 7.5 in 2031. We're expecting a time of around 27:15, something like that, unless Velde's gone and done a negative split on this last loop. Good burst coming in from Russia's Samir Mastiev. He's gone past Watanabe, who's well, he's been found wanting today. Watanabe started well, and I'm wondering, Mike, whether he is paying the price now for staying with the leaders on that first loop.
Well, we did mention that up the first of the big climbs. What is the punishment? What is being taken out of the legs for later in the day? Well, this is a strong finish from Veld.
27:15. It's only just over the predicted time, so again, not a super fast loop. 27:20, and so just marginally quicker than we saw on the last lap by 10 seconds or so. But good effort from Velder. He's got his time. Now, what will the margin be? 31 seconds. Last time we saw Shijua go through with just over a kilometre to go. It's going to be over 30. Will it be up to 45? I think he's actually done pretty well over the closing stages, Mike.
He certainly has, and that's a good performance to lose only a further 6 seconds from the previous split time, although that part of the track has been easier.
5 metres between them on the jump. Here we go with Mastiev, who fought really hard on the second loop. Started slowly, but he's built the speed. He's now a spent force, comes across the line 1 minute exactly, and so Mastiev certainly could be thinking in terms of a medal. Watanabe's good off the jump in 4th place. Sloviak of Poland in 5, then Yamamoto, the second of the Japanese, ahead of Leinonen of Finland. 1:12 behind, and you can see the damage it's done. And I sometimes think, Mike, that they actually ski harder in this event than they do in the Gundersen, where you know from pretty early on whether you're going to feature.
Well, that is so true. It's an unknown, and when all 27 started together today, it looked like the pack would stick together for longer, but now the separation is quite massive.
Has Kubchak been through, who took the bronze medal in the Gundersen event? Balanda comes in. He was 19th in the Gundersen. He's lying 14th at the moment, 1:47 behind. Simon Tobias was the best of the jumpers the other day for Germany. So when we see the leaderboard, you certainly want to watch out for him. And also Wunterloch of Poland. He's a very good jumper indeed, but he needs to be within a minute and a half, I think, if he's going to stand a chance. Yamamoto, not a bad effort from him. Well, there is Wunterloch of Poland coming in, 2 minutes 16. So, Mike, that's what's that? 136 seconds. Can you divide? get your calculator out. How many meters behind is he in terms of the jump? I mean, it's almost 15 metres, I think he's given away.
I think it's 16 metres, and that's a huge margin to competition. Kids have loved it.
So, great skiing from David Velder of Germany. He leads after phase 1.
Eurosport Player is the Eurosport multi-screen service. With Eurosport Player, watch Eurosport and Eurosport 2 live on all your favourite devices through a single subscription. Follow great sporting events live and on demand. Enjoy exclusive content featuring a variety of bonus channels. Eurosport Player. All sports, all emotions, all screens. Today's stars, tomorrow's leaders.
Well, the race is over. The crowd just hanging around. Not quite what for. They've been out there. It's -6. It's been snowing constantly since about an hour before the race. There's your race winner, or he's won phase 1 anyway. So the job half done, Mike. Do you think he's done enough?
He's given everything for sure. I think it's doubtful when you look at Chijoir, the way he could jump. I mean, it's all down to that one moment. But we'll have to wait and see. But I'm not sure he has done enough on the cross-country part of this Nordic combined.
So he's got a 5-metre advantage over Chijoir. So I think he might struggle. I think you're right. The difference in the jump last time between them was 15 points, which is 7.5 metres, and it's going to be tight. Well, it's going to be very tight indeed, and I think it's all going to come down to the 2 jumps.
And this is a good format because all of a sudden it's on paper. You without a doubt, Chijoir has improved his performance on paper in the cross-country part of this combined. If he can do the same, improve again proportionally on his jump, then he will take the title. And has this man taken too much out of himself with the effort here on the cross-country tracks?
And he's got an extra 8 kilos to take the distance on the jump. That is a significant amount of weight, and I should think at least 2 kilos of that are the lats and the triceps, which are the muscles used for double poling, because he looked really strong compared to Chijoir of Poland.
For a young athlete, Patrick, he certainly was able to control himself and pace it so well on the tracks.
So there you see the margin, 40 seconds between them, and so 5 metres exactly between Velde and Chijoir. Mastiev coming strong in the closing stages to put himself into 3rd, ahead of Watanabe and Sloviok of Poland. So we'll look forward to the second phase of this competition. I think the fact that there are 2 jumps does suit Adam Chijoir over David Velde, and the German, I think, is going to have to produce his best to hold off the Gundersen champion. And Kubchak, did you see him, Mike? I think he had 15 metres or so to make up. So he's a great jumper, Kubchak, but whether he can do that, I'm not sure. Still biathlon to come at the end of the week. We've got the mass starts and the relays to be held. Relays, surely you're not going to get good odds on Russia, because they've in the biathlon and the cross country they've been totally dominant.
They really have, and both the Universiades programs, a lot of the athletes in the university are representing their country. So some of the best athletes in the world in both cross country and biathlon. And this was a strong performance from Samir Mastiev. There he is, bib 5, constantly attacking on the tracks. Certainly the strongest nation in these disciplines, the cross-country, the Nordic, not so much the Nordic combined, but cross-country and biathlon, as we said earlier.
Nice looking skiing from David Velde. Certainly Mastiev and Watanabe and Chijoir all looked a little bit weak in the core, unstable on the skis, but David Velde wouldn't have looked out of place in a World Cup cross-country race or a World Cup Nordic combined race. Very, very strong indeed. You can see his legs. He's built like an ox, but that does not really suit the ski jumpers. You want to have the power, but you don't want the weight. It's all about power to weight ratio, and we'll see how he gets on later today.
When you look at Velde as well, he's only 20, he'll be 21 on the 18th of April. What a bright future he must have in Nordic combined. As you say, so efficient, so strong on his cross-country skis, and improving all the time in his jumping. But what has 27 hard minutes of racing taken out of his body? The same for everybody. for the next aspect, the next part of this Nordic combined.
Let's have a look at what else is coming up from the Universiade games. So, Nordic combined at 11:30. That's the jump. It's the HS 100. The same as we'll be seeing for the women's ski jumping later on today at 1:45 UK time. Nice to see that the women's ski jumping's got into the Universiade games. So it should. And it's a really thrilling competition. So this is the man who leads at the halfway stage of the Nordic combined. He's out-skied everyone by a full 39.5 seconds. Great work from David Felder, but can he cap it off later today? 11:30, remember the start time for the jumping. We'll see you then. Goodbye for now.
Today's stars, tomorrow's leaders.
Dubai, putting on a devastating show of strength. Stars of the peloton ride out. Crank up the early season momentum to create a high-speed train to deliver the finish. Tour of Dubai starts Wednesday, live on Eurosport 2.
The Africa Cup of Nations on Eurosport is presented to you by BetAtHome.com. Life is a game.
Well, here we go. Referee from Tunisia will start this game on Group D's decision day, the group which has been so close, so tight. 4 games played so far, every single game a 1-1 draw, 2 more 1-1 draws, and we draw lots. It may not come to that. If a winner wins here, then they will qualify for the quarterfinals. Mark Bright, it is set up so well, so tight, so hard to call.
Incredible. I don't think I've been covering the Africa Cup of Nations for quite a few years, and I don't think I've ever seen any final group game where everybody's got 2 points, 2 goals for, 2 goals against. And as you say, we were talking about pre-match. It's unthinkable that you would have to draw lots.
But it could happen.
Yes. There's better ways to decide.
There certainly are. This is Mohamed Yatara for Guinea in the red shirts. Wears 2 but plays as a central striker, the player from Lyon. Adama Tambora, long-serving left back for Mali. This is his 5th Cup of Nations. Here is Tambora. Now plays with Randers in the Danish league. Forward by Seydou Keita. And here come the Malians. The first shot there from Abdoulaye Diaby, who's in terrific form. Has been in Belgium on loan for the season's first half with Mouscron. He's the current Belgian top scorer. He's been recalled though by Lille in France to play for them in the second half of the season, and this is his first sight of goal.
Lovely bit of pace and power here, direct, looking for the first shooting opportunity of the game, didn't waste it. I think the ball just lifts a little bit, you see, off the turf, and this pitch has particularly been bad. I know it's been relayed before the competition, but I like that. I like the positiveness of having a drive at the defence and testing out the goalkeeper.
Right start to the game. This is Kevin Constant, now playing with Trabzonspor in the Turkish league after spells with Milan and Genoa and Kiev in Italy. Here's Yakuba Silla. It's dropped here to Yatara. Mohamed Yatara, there are 2 with that name in the team for Guinea, the goalkeeper to Nabi.
One at the front and one at the back.
Absolutely. Won't confuse them. One's got gloves on. There is Michel Desoya, French coach, former goalkeeper with Nice and Cannes as a player. This is 3rd Cup of Nations with Guinea, also coached Benin back in 2010. throw in here for Guinea. Ranked as the 6th best team in Africa at the moment by FIFA. Here's Constant. From range maybe. Might just break Ibrahima Conte's way. This is Modibo Maïga, on loan from West Ham, with Metz having an awful season in France. The bottom team. He's got 4 goals for Metz this season, has Maïga. Good noise though inside the stadium in Mongamot. As Mark says, the pitch hasn't been great here. It's only been relayed around 3 or 4 weeks ago and hasn't really knitted as yet. Here comes Naby Keita, fine run from him.
Oh, just needed to keep going, didn't he?
And a free kick given here.
Yeah, just needed to keep going there, Keita, and see if he can get a shot. Just at the last minute here, just decides to try and slip Yatara in. And you're just thinking, just onto the right foot there, you know, have a try.
Naby Keita is one of the changes made today. He's a playmaker. He plays in the Austrian Bundesliga with Red Bull Salzburg. He scored his first goal for them against Celtic in the Europa League in November time. He's a playmaker, also known as Deco, his nickname.
Oh, okay.
There's a bit of guile about him. It's Mamadou Ndiaye for Mali. Now Molawagi for his Salif Koulibaly. Tambora. Long here up towards Mustafa Yatabare. Conte. Shrugged aside by the wise old head here of Seydou Keita. 35 now, the Roma man, but still going strong here in his 7th Cup of Nations, brought down 2 by Conte.
Frustration from Conte. He had the ball, overran it. Keita pinched the ball off him. You must have what he's been. 7 Cup of Nations.
Yeah, Barcelona, spells in China, and with Sevilla as well. A player who's had a wonderful career. 35 now, but still. Passion. I think with Roma having maybe one more year next year as well.
Oh, really?
In goes the free kick. Oh, what a chance here for Mali, and blocked away somehow there in the 6-yard box. It was pinball. The chance came there for Diaby, didn't take it.
He didn't, and it was a great opportunity as well. It was bouncing around inside the 6-yard, 18-yard box. Wasn't dealt with at all by Guinea, and great delivery. The first header, and you can just see there, you have to say it's a great stop.
Game's first corner. Good start of the game, really bright so far.
You had the obligatory referee warning people not to do it.
Taken here by Yakuba Silla. Silla takes, and the header flicked on and over the bar, I think, there from Molawagi. May have been a push as well.
Yeah. 5 minutes on the clock, and like you say, good positive start, with everybody knowing what they need to do. You know, a win takes you through. There's no question about that. You don't want to draw and take your chance with the other two teams playing, not knowing what's going on there.
By the way, winning
take
the other
control
game,
of your tie.
If there's a winner in the other game and we have a draw here, we would then draw lots between these teams to see who would go through in the second place. So lots are very much a possibility either for the whole group or the second place.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about if it finished 0-0, what would stop you taking penalties and the 2 winning teams from the penalties?
I know. I guess you can't change the rules mid-tournament, can you?
No, but
at least then it's football reasons, isn't it, that you go through or go home?
Correct. Yeah. And who wants to take the chance in a bag and pull your number out or your name?
Yeah, it could well go that way.
If you ask the players, I'm sure they'd want to do it on ability.
Here's Yatabare. There's another corner here, cleared away by Guinea there, and Bassiama Sanko of Gongomp in France. Cup winners of last year in France. Corner here for Silla, again for Mali. The box is packed with some very, very big men. Can Silla produce this time? Wage's in the 23, the player from Udinese. In by Silla here. Goalkeeper comes and hasn't got there. Cleared away now by Mohamed Yattara. Now the break for Guinea, led by Ibrahima Traore. Conte takes over. Cleared away by Tambora.
Oh.
This is Naby Keita with Silla.
Foul. Silly foul. Is it Silva? Unnecessary, but you can just see, to me, the players are prepared to take a yellow card to not allow the opponent to get anywhere near the goal. There was just a hint of it just a few seconds before that challenge.
That's Ibrahima Traore, player from Borussia Mönchengladbach in Germany, towards Mohamed Yattara. Both have had their spell so far in the first 8 minutes. Both have had an attacker each and have put pressure on.
Eurosport Player is the Eurosport multi-screen service. With Eurosport Player, watch Eurosport and Eurosport 2 live on all your favourite devices through a single subscription. Follow great sporting events live and on demand. Enjoy exclusive content featuring a variety of bonus channels. Eurosport Player. All sports, all emotions, all screens.
Get set for athletics. Indoors and in form. New season sees markers laid down for the rest. And with champions in the house, they'll give it their best. IAAF Indoor Athletics from Karlsruhe. Saturday night. Live on Eurosport 2.
Knock here for the captain Traore on the day.
Well, it looked a little late to me as he played the ball. I'll get a better view here. Oh, I can tell you now that is sore.
That challenge
is sore. Late, showing you the studs. That would want a yellow card at the least. The referee doesn't obviously get a chance to see what we've just seen, but I can understand the eagerness and the pressure at the start of the game, but
no card.
No, very lucky.
So 9 gone. Goalless between Guinea and Mali in a winner-takes-all game to qualify for the last 8 of this Cup of Nations. Constant overran the ball. Fed by Naby Yattara, player from Arles Avignon in the French second tier. He's played just 16 league games in the last 6 years, the goalkeeper.
I have to say it's the one position where your general fitness doesn't really count, and your reflexes and anticipation come from games, I'd have to say. But it is a position where somebody can change and largely it can pay off.
Sanko.
It's just that edge, isn't it, of playing, you know, week in, week out, or playing at least, you know, half a season or so.
Yeah, more caps than club games across the last 6 years for Naby Yattara.
Well, the game bodes well for a goal, doesn't it? I think
it does.
Is it Mali haven't kept a clean sheet for 7 games?
Correct. Here's Naby Keita. Constant with the rather ambitious ball. Very ambitious from Kevin Constant. But he's a man who can nick a goal. Certainly Mohamed Yattara. Got his first Lyon goals in the Europa League this season against Mlada Boleslav in the group stage of that competition in the autumn. He's played 10 games in Lyon's league team this campaign, the current French league leaders. 3 starts.
Well, Lyon have the largest amount of players here. French league don't have the largest amount of players, don't they? There's not very many from England, actually.
No, there are 8 in each squad who are French based today. A few French born as well. This is forward from Drissa Diakite, one of those French based players, with Bastia on Corsica. Lovely place.
Cool.
And here's Yatabari pushed once, the referee looks at it.
Oh, that's got to be a foul.
No penalty.
It's got to be a foul.
Here's Seydou Keita. Tamboura's cross. Well, a big shout here, Mark. Big claim.
Well, the referee looked like he was upward played, I have to say. Onside. Mistake there. Is that a push in the back? You have to say it is a push. There's no question about it. Camera. Watch this, there you go, push in the back, collides with the goalkeeper, the ball breaks free, eye on the ball, his body's in front, it's a push. Whether he would have got the ball was debatable or not. Yeah, I can't believe that either. I really can't believe that.
Yeah, Fode Camara, the player based in Guinea with Horoya, with a rather clumsy push which wasn't seen by the referee. No penalty given, so it stays here 0-0 in this one half of the tailing Group D today.
I think you can say it was seen, Dan. The referee just dismissed it as a dive. But,
and the Fofana has been tripped by Keita.
No, if that's a foul, you'd have to say I think the penalty appeal must be one.
It could be a bruising game, this one, the way it's begun.
Well, hugely frustrating. Hugely frustrating, I can tell you now, for the bench, for the coach, for the players on the pitch as well.
I guess given the group, the other teams in this, Cameroon, Ivory Coast, this is the game both would have thought that we can win this one.
Yes. Well, you know, obviously it's a strong group, isn't it?
Very strong group.
And both teams have had chances in their first two games as well.
Well, Mali have led both and let him make equalisers in both. Here's Modibo Maiga. Nowhere beyond Constant. And he'll push on here from the left-hand side. Constant. Out there towards Traore. Given away here to Yatara. Ibrahima Traore. Traore went for goal there, blocked away by the centre back. I think the ball given the face.
Could give a penalty.
It's a late reaction, but he's given a penalty of the referee. Well, was it hands? It must have been hands.
Well, it looked to me like it hit him at the side of the head. You know, he looked like a slightly dazed. But having, you know, I know that players can sort of disguise that, pretend they didn't handball it, but it was a bit of a delayed reaction. I think the referee doesn't see it. I think it's his assistant probably who flags and presses the buzzer. I think the referee's got it right. Then if it's the assist, whoever it is, if the right hand comes out,
yep, you're right.
Yes, yeah. If he keeps his eye on the ball, he just heads it.
Well, a late call, but it was the right decision. Penalty here for Guinea.
I think that's the most important thing, whether if they take the time or not, whether you come to the right decision. And I'm not the referee was a bit delayed in his action of blowing the whistle, so you know, couldn't quite see the assistant had his flag across his chest or pressed the buzzer.
Now Germain Berthe, second choice goalkeeper here for Mali, faces Kevin Constant for Guinea. This could be a huge juncture in this so tight Group D. From the spots for Guinea, Kevin Constant of Trabzonspor. Big moment. And how calm can you be given the pressure, given the stakes? Out comes the Panenka.
What can you say? I mean, this is a huge game. It's the final group game and the pressure is on. You're into the first 15 minutes and you decide to just dink that, and I have to say that takes a lot of nerve. There's a lot of self-belief and confidence in that, and I thought he was going to go for the blast. Short run up, I thought 1-2 steps, blast down the middle. It takes some nerve, but it's well executed, and it's a true sign of confidence from Constant. Beautiful.
So 1-0 Guinea. First strike in the group has been taken here on match day 3 by Guinea. Officials with a big call, the right call. And Guinea in front.
I think that's the most important thing, Dan, that you get it right, and you can say it's a handball. It is a handball.
Game has begun well here. Here's a Maiga for Mali. Maiga here twists and turns as well. Maiga's shot blocked. Is that hands? Yes, it is. Another penalty.
Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Virtually within a minute.
Tit for tat.
Yes, and I'd have to say, from my first impression, I think it looks like the arms are up. Is it Camera? The arms are up. He comes across. Wow. I don't think Camera's the man who's involved in the. Well, there you go. It looks like he's shaking his arm.
We see it.
Well, that's the challenge. Yeah, that's the challenge. Comes inside. You can see, first of all, he starts off with his hands behind his back, and then he pulls them out as he sort of throws himself down.
Remarkable start. 2 big decisions by the referee. It'll be the captain, Seydou Keita, to take on the job